So this is a sheep's heart that I'll be showing you the inside of. I don't think I did the dissection quite right. It was hard to figure out what part was which on the outside, so it's a little bit botched, but you can still tell pretty much everything. So the first thing you can see is the apex down here, which should be made of this left ventricle that you can kind of see here. It's a lot firmer, and this one's a little bit squishier, so I figured that was that. So this is the apex. Then you can see the inferior vena cava up here, which I believe that is. The inferior one should be down here somewhere, but it is hard to see on this one. And then this kind of mass up here would be the aorta, which I'll show you in a little bit. So blood flow starts with deoxygenated blood coming in through the whole body, in through these two veins, the vena cava, which flows into the right atrium, which you can kind of see here, which I kind of screwed up a little bit, cutting open, rear view, which flows through the tricuspid valve, which you can see even less of, right here into the left ventricle. And it flows, which is kind of like down here too, in there. Guess I could use this. So the blood at this point is still, oh yeah, all the way down in there. And this is the tricuspid valve. It had 3 parts and I tore one of them. So 1, 2, and then this third one is still in there. So then once the deoxygenated blood flows into the left ventricle here, it goes up through the pulmonic valve and out to the lungs, but I kind of screwed that up a little bit too. Oh well. It goes out to the lungs and then comes back in to the right atrium, or the left atrium, my bad, where it will be oxygenated. And that's the atrium right here. So this blood will be oxygenated and ready to go to the rest of the body, but before it can do that, so it goes into the atrium, the left atrium right here, flows through the mitral valve, which you can see right here, which I didn't mess up as bad as the other one, so that's pretty cool, and then flows into the left ventricle here. You can see these like little tendon things. Those are the chordae tendineae, which basically hold the valve in place. They're also on the other side, but I kind of ripped them a little bit. And at the base of those in the ventricle is the papillary muscles, and that holds them in place even more. And then, for my favorite part, you can barely see it, but after the blood goes into the left ventricle here, it goes up and into the aorta, through the aortic valve. And you can't really see it, but I can pretty much stick my whole probe up into the aorta right here. So that's pretty cool. And that is the end. Oh, and I should mention that in between, so the only way I was able to tell that the left ventricle was the left and not the right, because it was a little confusing, is because you can see all this heart muscle here is super, super thick compared to just like a little bit over here. It's pretty thin. And that is because the left ventricle ends up pumping the blood to the entire body and then not to just the lungs, so it ends up being really, really thick. And then this right here would be the septum, because it separates the left ventricle from the right. And I think that's it. So this is the end.